Hello, I am the narrator, and before this episode begins, Maddie and Dr. von Schleumann will be very busy today talking about the Demogorgons and having 2 interviews. Without further ado, let the show begin. Good morning, everybody. My name is Maddie, and I just came back from watching all 3 seasons of Stranger Things. All for scientific purposes, of course, because I'm a lazy bum or anything. But today we're going to be talking about the Demogorgon, the whole reason why Hawkins was under attack. Right? Or was it 11? Hold on, I'll be right back. 1 eternity later. Spent 3 weeks, gained 3 pounds, and I know whose fault it is. Papa. Because if he did not tell her, 11, to make contact with the creature, then she would have never had a panic attack opening up the Upside Down. Yep. What is it? And did it come from a movie or a video game? The Demogorgons are one of the main characters in the alternate dimension called the Upside Down. The Demogorgons are very tall and slim and have a flower-like head with teeth all around on the inside. They also hunt the main characters all the time. The Demogorgons are a part of a series in Netflix originals called Stranger Things. They appeared late in season 1 and season 2. The interview. How close is it related to the inspiration? Hello, and today we're doing an interview. Tell me, sir, what is your name? Oh, yes, my name's Mark. So what do you do in the Stranger Things productions? I was actually wearing the costume when the Demogorgon was at a close-up or if one of the characters was fighting it. The CGI is really good. Tell me, do you know how they did it? Yes. We started to draw ideas that really stick into people's head. Then we just drew the details of the Demogorgon. And finally, we 3D modeled it to size so that we can keep it the same every single time. Both Demogorgons have built a reputation. The one in D&D is known as the Prince of Demons, while the one in Stranger Things is known for terrorizing the entire city. A clip of the character. And are there any Easter eggs or hidden things? In the description, there is a clip where 11 and the Demogorgon were fighting in the school, and then they just poofed out of nowhere. Okay, so like a lot of movies or shows, some of them have pop references to make it like comedy or to kind of connect the person watching it better with the show. Well, in Stranger Things, there are a lot of references to Dungeons and Dragons. For example, the creature that was terrorizing Hawkins, they referenced it to one of the characters from their board game, the Demogorgon. And then later on, in episode 5, they were talking about the Upside Down, and one of the kids referenced it to a D&D ability called the Veil of Shadows. And whenever the kid read it, and I quote, "is a dimension that is a dark reflection or echo of the world. It is a place of decay and death, a plane out of phase, a place of monsters. It is right next to you and you don't even know it." Questions. So I have some of my questions written up about the show. So without further ado, first one. Why did they start calling the monster a Demogorgon? Well, to my knowledge, the only reason why is because when Eleven was explaining where Will was at the time, she used the Demogorgon piece. Alright, next question. What other references are there in the movie? Well, they did a small reference with Dark Crystal, mainly just like the poster on the board. Then they did with Star Wars, they mentioned Lord of the Rings, they dressed up as the Ghostbusters, and probably like many more that didn't pop up to me. Last question. What other monsters or creatures are introduced into the show? Later on in the show, there was the Demodogs, which are, well, they're technically the same thing, Demogorgon and Demodogs, but just like baby form. Then there was the weird blob thing that was made out of like decaying flesh that chased the characters around for a little bit. And then finally, of course, there was the Mind Flayer. I heard it's my time for me to shine. What? Your hair. Oh yeah, it's curly, just like yours. What do you think? Yeah, what happened? I fell asleep with Brayden. Good morning, everybody. My name is Dr. Von Schleumann, and it has become very clear that the Demogorgon's origins came from Dungeons and Dragons, where the legend / myth came from. Information about the creature. But the Dungeons and Dragons are very different. See, it has 2 heads, which actually have separate personalities, always fighting against each other, making it go mad and become very clever. So, you know, we got the 2-headed Joker. Whenever this creature has a lot of time on its hands, or tentacles, it, spends time at making abominations to bring death upon the world. How it looks, what powers or abilities does it have? The Demogorgon from D&D is a lot different from the Demogorgon in Stranger Things. For example, the Demogorgon from Dungeons and Dragons has 2 separate heads that are similar to baboons. And they have separate names. The one on the right is Hatradia, and the one on the left is, I don't know. This creature also has tentacles for arms, lizard legs, and a tail that splits. But there is a small similarity to it, is that they are both very tall. But this one from Dungeons and Dragons is 18 feet tall. The Demogorgon doesn't always like to get his hands dirty, so he most of the time uses his minions and magic. But he can in fact do a lot more than that. So, for example, if you look at him, you will go crazy in fear. But if you switch it around and he looks into your eyes, you can become his next minion. But, let's just say he doesn't want any more minions, and he just wants to flat out kill you. He could just whip you with his tail and suck the life right out of you, or he can grip you tightly in his tentacles, and your skin just melt away. In fact, to top it all off, not all magic spells work on him. So yeah, there's a reason why they call him the Prince of Demons. Is it mortal or immortal? Where does it live? The beast lives in its own world, in a separate dimension, so to speak. It's called the Gaping Maw, where there are 2 ginormous buildings that are shaped like serpents that are guarded by dozens of different types of monsters. The Demogorgon's home is also surrounded by a very thick jungle. An interview. Are there any sightings of the creature? Now it's time for the interview. Hey Maddie, you wanna... What on earth are you doing? Nothing. Well, I was gonna ask you if you wanted to do the interview, the Demogorgon, but it looks like you're busy. Oh yes, I am very busy. Hello, I am Dr. von Schnorman. Today we're going to be doing an interview. So tell me, sir, was the Demogorgon always the prince of demons?
No, it was not. But it was one of the first demons in the game.
Oh, I see. Well, when did it become the prince of demons?
Way back in 1977.
And why did you decide to change that after the creation of the Demogorgon?
We did it as another way to tell a story of how all the characters became who they are today.
Also, it's just a little small clip of a 3D model of the Demogorgon, since I didn't know exactly what to look for. Who they hunt for, how to avoid them. He goes after people that cross his path or pose a threat to his throne, but you mainly just need to watch out for his minions. But, you know, it's a little bit crazy, but also watch out because he has a cult. Yep. That follow his lead with the type of magic that he does. And to put a little spice into it, there are 2 different types of cults because of the 2 different heads and separate personalities. And questions. Alright, so I have my questions right up here. First one, what is D&D? Well, to put it plain and simple without overcomplicating it, it's a role-playing game that you play, and it's kind of like a board game where you have dice and character pieces. Next question? Yep, that's all the questions that I had. You're welcome. Well, unfortunately this video has come to an end. If you are fascinated by both Demogorgons, there are links in the description that go more into detail about the information we found about them. If you've enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe. Without further ado, have a nice day, and good night. This is the end of the video, end of the video, end of the video. Bam, bam. End of the video, end of the video. This is the end of the video. Bam, 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 bam. Pew pew. End of the video, end of the video, end of the video. Oh oh.